Alright, welcome to the Room Guitar 159% guitar tutorial that I'm doing. I don't really have much to say other than it's a loopy song, so you will probably want one of these doodads, looper. I'm not going to go too far into explaining how these work, or how to actually loop and delete the loop or anything like that, because I'm guessing these are all different. And you could actually attach pedals to do the same thing, so it's probably going to be different the way I do it than the way you do it. But anyway, let's get right into the tutorial. If you want to check out the original video by Matthew, you could click on this link about right here. And if you want to see my cover of it, you could click right down here somewhere, maybe. Unless I'm dumb and I forgot to put it there when I upload, but I'll put it there eventually, at some point, or the description. So the tuning for this one is E, A, D, F sharp, A, and D. So basically, the G string is going down by half a step, and the B and E strings are going down by 2.5 steps. So as well as this song being a pretty loopy song, it's also really tappy. So you're going to be doing lots of left and right-handed tapping. I don't know if there's a name for that. But the song, part 1, starts off with tapping 5th fret on the 6th string with your left hand. And I use my middle finger for this. And then you give it about 2 beats, I suppose. And then with the right hand, you tap the 7th fret on the 6th string still. Then left hand taps 4th on the 5th string. Then it hammers on, I suppose, although you can think of all of this as tapping, really. But technically, I guess hammer on to the 5th fret on the 5th string. And then tap with the left hand again, 4th fret of the 4th string. Then your right hand taps the 7th, still on the 4th string. And then you pull off with the right hand to open on the 4th string. So that little chunk was. Then after that, you tap with the right hand the 7th fret on the 3rd string. Pull that off to open. Then your left hand taps the 4th on the 4th string again. Right hand comes in and taps the 7th on the 4th. Then you pull off to the 4th fret, and then you pull off with your left hand to open. And then you get right back to tapping the 5th on the 6th string, and that's where the repeat of this starts. Not the loop though, you just repeat it. So. So part 2 is where things get a little bit more intricate, less intricate, depending on if you're good with tapping with 2 fingers at the same time. You tap 7th frets on the 6th and 2nd strings. Then your left hand taps the 5th and the 4th on the 5th and 4th strings. Then your right hand taps the 7th on the 1st and the 4th strings. Then you pull those off to either open on the 1st or 4th on the 4th string. Then you tap the 7th on the 6th and the 2nd again, and then again. And then you tap the 5th on the 5th string and the 4th on the 4th string again. And you could apply some vibrato on this if you want. I usually do. I think he might in the video, but I'm not quite sure. It seems like he probably does. Then you just repeat that, but instead of just applying vibrato there for a little bit, instead of doing that, you tap the 7th on the 6th and 2nd frets, or 7th frets on the 6th and 2nd strings, sorry. So that's how the ending changes. And I'll go ahead and play the first repeat and the second for you real quick. Then from there, you tap the 5th on the 6th string, and I don't think right now tapping the 4th on the 4th string is necessary, because you're also tapping with the right hand on the same string, but it kind of looks like he still does anyway, and it feels more comfortable for me, because you're going to be doing this kind of a motion for the rest of this bar, so do what you want with that. Anyway, you tap those two, and your right hand taps the 7th on the 4th and the 1st strings at the same time. Then you tap the same thing with the right hand. Then you tap the same thing with the left hand. Then you tap with the right hand again. And then you tap both left hand and right hand together. So that was... Then you do the exact same thing, except instead of tapping with the right hand on the 7th frets of the 4th and 1st strings, you tap the 7th frets on the 5th and 2nd strings. So. And this is where tapping the 4th on the 4th string actually is necessary, because now you don't have anything tapping on that string as well, so you can actually hear it this time. So at the beginning of this part, you should be starting your looper to record the loop at the beginning of this. And then when you get to the end of what I just showed you, then that's when you stop the recording and then you have it loop through once. And I'll go ahead and do that slowly for you guys real quick. That's where the loop starts actually playing. And it's right there that part 2 comes in, and you just play on top of it, on top of the loop, that is. So while the loop is playing that whole deal, you're actually going to be playing on top of it, not recording, just playing on top of it. You play the 7th frets on the 5th, 4th, and 3rd strings. And then you hammer on to the 8th of the 4th string and the 9th of the 5th. And then your right hand comes in and taps the 12th frets on the 2nd and 4th strings. Then you pull that off to, I guess, the 7th strings. You should be barring this entire thing with on the 7th fret. And then you tap the 12th frets again with the right hand on the 2nd and 4th strings. Then you play the 7th frets on the 5th, 4th, and 3rd strings again. Hammer on to the 8th of the 3rd and the 9th of the 5th. Then your right hand taps the 12th frets on the 5th and 3rd strings this time. And then you tap the 12th on the 4th and 2nd again. I'll go ahead and play that chunk of it for you slowly, real quick. And then from there, you tap the 12th frets on the 2nd and 4th strings again. And then you slide up to the 16th frets. And then you tap those frets that you just slid up to again. The 16th on the 2nd and 4th. And then from there you tap the 16th on the 1st. Then you tap the 16th on the 4th. Then your left hand taps the 8th on the 3rd. And then the 9th on the 5th. And you do this fairly quickly. It's like... In fact, it's almost mistakable to think that he just taps this your left hand at the same time. But just looking at the video very slowly, unless I'm looking at it wrong, it does look like he actually does just tap these two individually. But I could be wrong about that. The video is somewhat low quality, and I might suck at doing this. That is a possibility. And then from there, you tap the 14th on the 1st, the 14th on the 4th, then your left hand taps the 7th on the 5th, and then the 7th on the 4th, or sorry, the 3rd. So that second half was just this. And then from there, you repeat this whole thing while the loop is still going with its own thing. And I'll go ahead and do that for you real quick. Just playing this part and the repeat in it without the loop, and then I'll do the loop afterwards. And now with the loop this time. So after you've done that part where you're playing over the loop twice, after you've done that twice, then you want to pause the loop. Not delete it, just pause, because you're going to use that same loop again in a second. And what you do is, while nothing's looping anymore because you paused it, you tap with the left hand the 3rd on the 6th string. With your right hand taps the 7th on the 4th and 2nd strings. Then you tap, I'm just going to say with these, that these 7th frets on the 6th or the 4th and 2nd strings are just your whole right hand tapping, and then this one right here is just your whole left hand, so I don't have to repeat tap 7th on the 2nd, 7th on the 4th over and over again. So you tap with both of them first, and then you tap with the right hand, and then like your left hand, and then your right hand again, and then your right hand, instead of tapping the 7th frets on the 2nd and 4th strings, you tap the 5th frets on the same strings. And you tap them both at the same time, your left hand and right hand. Then your right hand, then your left, then your right again. And then you tap your right again, and then you tap them both at the same time. So go ahead and do that slowly, real quick. So after you tap these two at the same time, then you tap the 5th fret with the left hand on the 6th string, and the 2 7th frets on the 2nd and 4th, and you just hold those. So that whole section, slow, is like this. And then you tap it twice, quickly. And I don't know if there's a pull-off there. There might be. You could add one if you want, but I just kind of let whatever happens with that. So from there, you start the loop up again, the one that's playing. And you also immediately, you don't wait for it to repeat at all, you just immediately start with the and you go through that twice. And then you get into the next part. So this part is exactly the same thing as last time, except instead of stopping at instead of hitting that last one, you do the exact same thing as from the beginning to right there, except you're doing it 2 frets higher than normal. So instead of tapping 3rd fret on the 6th string with the left hand, tap the 5th fret. Instead of your right hand tapping the 7th frets here and then going down to the 5th, you're tapping the 9th frets and going down to the 7th. And it's the exact same thing. And then from there, you do everything from the beginning of this part. That whole thing. Except now, instead of tapping the 7th or 5th or 9th on the 2nd string, you're doing that on the 1st. And you're still tapping on the 4th as well. You're still tapping everything normal on your left hand. It's just instead of tapping right here, you're tapping right here. So I'll go ahead and play that slowly still. And you just hold that one out. And then that takes you into the next part. So the first half of this part is exactly the same thing as the very first part, It's the exact same thing, except you're doing it much slower, and you only repeat it once. So you only play through it twice, basically. So then you go down here where things change a little bit. You tap with the left hand the 2nd on the 6th string. Then you hammer on, or tap with the left hand, whatever you want to call it, onto the 3rd fret, 6th string. Then left hand tap to the 2nd of the 5th string. And then your right hand taps the 5th on the 5th string. And then you could either pull off to the 2nd fret, or you could just tap that again. I'm more comfortable with just tapping it again, and it kind of looks like he's doing this thing throughout the whole section here in the videos, so that's just what I do, but it's totally fine to just pull off there. Anyway, after you tap that again, you tap with the right hand the 4th on the 4th string, then you tap the 2nd on the 5th again, then you tap the 5th on the 3rd, then you tap the 2nd on the 5th again. Then you tap the 2nd on the 4th string. Then your right hand taps the 4th on the 4th string. Then you pull off to 2nd. Then you pull that off to open. So go ahead and play that little section slowly for you real quick. And from the beginning of this part, where you're playing the, when you start playing that, you should hit the loop to, the looper to start looping it, and, or recording the loop. And then when you end off with the, after you've repeated that and you end on that note, then that's where the loop starts repeating through. And once you do that, then you let the loop go through once, and then you start playing on top of it, and you're actually recording this time. So you're recording on top of the loop with this. And what you do is, when the loop is playing, when it's playing those 2 notes, you play, I think he's tapping it, I'm pretty sure he is, the 7th frets on the 5th and 4th strings, and then you hammer on or tap onto the 9th. And then from there you tap the 10th on the 3rd with your right hand, and then you tap the 11th on the 4th. And you tap those when the looper's tapping the 7th and, well, the 7th on the 3rd and the 7th on the 4th. So, right there, and right there. Right there, and there. And then you just repeat that, just like the looper's repeating the section of tapping right here. And then when the looper goes to the part where you're tapping this, you do the same thing, sort of, just different frets. You tap with the left hand the 4th frets on the 5th and 4th strings, and then you hammer on or tap the 5th fret, same strings. And then your right hand comes and taps the 8th on the 3rd string, and then the 9th on the 4th. So go ahead and play it with the loop. I'm not going to do it without the loop this time because it's a little bit too simple, and most of it here is timing with the loop. So that's mostly what you want to learn right here. So after you've played through that once, the right there, the loop should have gone through and finished its cycle, and it should be actually recording the that part that you're playing. So you shouldn't have to play it the second time when the loop goes around again, if that makes sense. You should know what I mean by listening to the song as well. But after that, it's looping that second part that I just showed you, and you just like go through once more, and then from there you delete the loop after it's finished that cycle, and that takes you into this next part. So for this next part, if you want to, the previous part you actually can play through it instead of recording the loop and just having it cycle through the second time, but it makes it a little bit difficult to play this part without messing it up. But you might be actually just really good at guitar, so that might be a possibility for you. But for me, I have it loop through, and then when it's done, after I've deleted the loop, then you play the 6th fret open, and your left hand taps the 5th on the 3rd string and the 4th on the 4th string at the same time. And then your left hand slides down 2 frets to the 3rd and 2nd strings. And then you pull off to open. Then you tap, same frets, pull off to open again, tap the same frets again. Then you slide up to the 5th and 4th again. Then you slide back down, pull off to open, tap them again, and then you pull off to open again. And then you give some space. And that's a little confusing. Again, the tabs will probably help explain this a lot better than just me saying them. But I'll go ahead and play that slowly. So from here, your right hand taps the 3rd fret on the 6th string, and your left hand taps the 5th and 4th frets on the 3rd and 4th strings. Then you slide your left hand down 2 frets to the 3rd and 2nd. Pull them off to open. Hammer them back on again. Pull off to open again. Hammer them back on. And then slide up to the 5th and 4th strings. And then you give it some time and you hold everything still. And then after a second or so passes, you pull them off to open again. And then when the next bar happens, you could either pull off your right hand, or you could just strum the 6th string again. I just like to pull it off so that I don't have to move my hand all the way down here again to strum it properly. But you do the same thing. So go ahead and play that slowly for you. And then from here, you do the exact same thing as what I've shown you so far, except now you tap the 5th fret instead of playing open on the 6th string. and then you tap the 7th instead of playing the 3rd, or tapping the 3rd on the 6th string. So that becomes... And then you do the same thing, except you tap the 3rd, and then you tap the 5th. So... And then from there, you do that opening bit where you're playing. And then from here, you start playing that second part, the part that was looped, and you're recording that as well. And once you play that once, then you want to start the loop, or end the loop recording, which should start the loop playing. But you don't give it any time to play through. You just immediately start with that second part that you're playing on top of it. So and you play through that 3 times. So I'll go ahead and show you that real quick. So after you've gone through playing the high part, after you've done that 3 times while the loop's playing through, then you delete the loop, and you can pause it. It doesn't matter here because this is the last part, so you could save that if you want to. But you tap with the left hand, 5th fret on the 6th string. It's basically like half of that first part, just so you know. 5th fret 6th string. Then your right hand taps 7th on the 6th string. Left hand taps the 4th on the 5th string. Then 5th on the 5th string. Then your left hand taps the 4th on the 4th string, sorry. And then your right hand taps the 7th on the 4th. Then from there you tap the 3rd on the 6th string. Then you tap the 2nd on the 5th. Then you tap with the right hand the 5th on the 5th string. Then you pull off to the 2nd. And then you tap the 4th with the right hand on the 4th string. Then your right hand taps the 5th on the 6th string. Your left hand taps the 2nd on the 5th. Then the 4th on the 5th string. You hammer that on, or you tap it with your left hand. Then your left hand taps the 2nd on the 4th string. And then your right hand taps the 5th on the 5th string. And then the chunk that happened before that last one, you're basically doing that again. Tap the 3rd on 6th string, tap the 2nd on the 5th, right hand taps the 5th on the 5th, then you pull off the 2nd string again, right hand taps the 4th on the 4th string, except this time you pull off to open on the 4th string. And then from here, he taps like this entire bar, I suppose, which is kind of difficult. I think he actually uses his middle finger, which might be for a little bit more strength or something. I kind of prefer my index though. But you do that, and you also, with the right hand, you tap the 9th on the 2nd and the 9th on the 4th. Anyway, that's the full song for Room Guitar 159% by Mathyou Music, I suppose is what he would be called. That's his YouTube channel, although I don't think he uses it anymore. I believe he's doing guitar reviews of some sort on a different channel now. But anyway, if you want to see the original video, you can click here, maybe right there or so, somewhere around there. Links will also be in the description. If you want to see my cover of it, you can click down here, and also tabs. How about we put tabs? I actually don't think I can link tabs on YouTube. I think they changed that, or maybe that was never a thing. But tabs will be in the description, a link to them. And if you guys want to comment any suggestions for what I might do later, if it's some sort of math rock or post rock or something I might be into, and doesn't have tabs already, or at least not good tabs, or even a video tutorial, then I'll probably go ahead and do them, because that's kind of what my channel is dedicated to. And like, subscribe, do all that good jazz if you want to, and thanks for watching.